don't believe me, just watch.
Well, welcome back to Morning Brew with Friends. We're joined with our friends from Bern County Sheriff's Department, the new Sheriff, Manuel Gonzales, and Undersheriff Rudy. Thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate it this morning. This will be fun. So I know that you guys are brand new on the job, but you're a veteran. How long have you been on the force?
Well, I served approximately 22 years on the force.
Also, how long have you been on the force?
Well, I've just been about a month with the Sheriff's Department.
Oh, very cool.
My previous career was 20 years with the state police.
How do these two differ?
Well, you know, not a whole lot. You know, different agency, but a lot of the same problems that we face in law enforcement. Thing that's been good for me is the fact that the Sheriff's Department's a closer-knit family.
Right.
You know, being a state policeman, you know, you have the whole state, and there's oftentimes you don't see your brothers and sisters.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you get a chance to work with the Gordon Eden, who's the police chief in Albuquerque?
Yes, I sure did. He was cabinet secretary right when I retired.
Yeah, he's doing some interesting stuff. I know there's just a spillover between APD and Bern County. And how do you guys work together? How do you make sure that everybody stays safe?
Well, we have the same mission.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've talked. They're going through a difficult situation, and we've offered whatever support we can.
Yeah.
We've often taken issues within Albuquerque, and we go out there and meet with those people and figure out how we can support them.
Because you guys police not just the Bern County outskirts, you guys also police Metro Albuquerque too at times, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you fit in with that overall situation with APD, and how do you support them, but not really, because you guys have a different philosophy about this stuff. You guys have not had to deal with DOJ investigations, you know, so how do you fit into that, and how do you support what APD is doing?
Well, obviously, we'll look at the reports, figure out what happened there, to learn from that, and then we take from that and see how we can better our situation, and also better their situation. You know, we're here to support them, and the fact that we have strong community ties, we also look at that as something that not only we build on, but that we can share with them.
What's the difference in the cultures, and do you think there is a cultural issue within APD that kind of caused these issues?
I can't speak for them.
Well, how do you maintain your culture so that it doesn't get to that level then?
But I think communicating at the local level is taking your objectives and goals from the people and from the citizens.
You have a new captain who's on the ground doing some of that right now too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about what he's doing.
Well, you know, we're forming a community relations unit. He's instrumental in doing that. So what we'll do is we'll do some research, we'll do some fact finding. Anytime we're looking at collaborating, you always have to have a strategic plan. You don't want to introduce things and then all of a sudden figure, hey, I need a policy here, I need to figure out how I get these things done. We need the infrastructure, the staffing. What we do is we do planning. So in any initiative we do, we're going to do some research. We're going to find the facts. We're going to figure out what works. And then we're going to tailor that behind whatever works and whatever the people are asking for. Kind of mend those two things
How does
together.
that dovetail into what you guys are doing at the jail? I know the county took over the jail several years ago, and there's been issues with overcrowding there, and there's been a lot actually there.
There's a lot of issues, and one of our issues in terms of the way that impacts us is that's our highest volume of calls.
Is at the jail?
At the jail.
You get more calls at the jail
At any
for
other place
services
in the whole county.
Wow. And when you say
place.
that, does that mean like 20 calls a day, 50 calls a day?
Well, it comes out to roughly around approximating probably about 900 calls a year.
At the jail?
At the jail.
For just internal things at the jail. That's amazing to me.
It is.
So how do you deal with that? Because they're already in jail.
Well, that's part of why the reason we're going out there. We're using that as a proactive way to address crime. Go out there and deter, prevent, and get intelligence and get information. And you know, last time I was in office as interim sheriff, we had a pilot program out there, and actually it helped support cold case crimes getting solved. And I think just in the short time we were out there, 5 homicides were solved.
Wow. From jail? From
jail intelligence, jail information.
Wow. That's amazing.
It is amazing. And I think since we're coming back and we're looking at this again, we're looking at this is a good way for us to get information, share it, and do law enforcement proactively.
What are you doing for the long-term overcrowding at the jail? I know that's been just a chronic problem there.
Well, you know what, one thing we're going to introduce is that people that get incarcerated in there, that they're able to, through maybe this task force, talk to the district attorney's office, that they have an opportunity to speak to a law enforcement officer, to give information, to solve some of these crimes and be proactive about it.
And is there kind of is that helping like a plea argument, something like that?
That would be up to the district attorney's office to decide.
Yeah. What are some of the issues you guys are facing kind of on the ground in Albuquerque? Are you seeing, the headlines lately have been that Albuquerque seems a little bit more violent in 2015 than it was in 2014. Are you guys seeing that too, or is that more of just an Albuquerque metro problem?
Well, I think nationally there's information being out there. There's been some attacks on law enforcement.
No doubt.
So we see some trending going or going in the direction where it's becoming against law enforcement. So we want to address that. We want to make sure that the people in the community know that there are eyes and ears, and that they actually enhance our ability to do law enforcement.
When I see the headlines, though, I mean, is it just alarmist stuff? We're like, oh my God, Albuquerque, there's shootings and there's stabbings and is it really more violent? Is that something you guys are seeing, or is that just, some people making mountains out of molehills?
You know what? I don't know if it's real. I mean, sometimes it's going to be the perception from the media.
Right.
So it's hard for us to say because we don't have the information right in front of us to speak to that.
Right.
So.
But overall, you guys don't feel like Albuquerque is more violent in 2015 than Bern County was in 2014?
No, and I think from my perception, I think the perception has been focused on the negativity, but I can tell you that, being involved in law enforcement my whole career, more officers have good positive police experiences probably 100 times, 1,000 times more than a bad police experience. So I think as a society we tend to focus on the negative, but we see so many positive things that Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department is doing on a day-to-day basis. Last night, for instance, Captain Thomas and his folks started our 4th Citizens Police Academy. We had a great turnout, roughly 40 citizens wanting to participate in that program. So it was good to see.
I love that. I have a friend who went through that, actually, and he said it was great fun. It's just a few days, right?
Yes.
And you learn some of the real basics of policing. How do you get involved? How do you do that?
Well, you can contact our law enforcement academy there, the regional center, and ask for Captain Thomas and his staff, and they'll get you in contact with a recruiter. It's a great opportunity, they'll be able to go through a Milo machine and be able.
What's that?
It's like a simulator that puts them in kind of like without having to be in a real life situation. The next best thing, where they'll give commands to a screen, drop your weapon, different types of commands, and they'll be able to make the split-second call that a deputy or an officer has to make, and it just gives them a different perception of how quick a deputy has to react in certain situations.
And you have to realize who's friendly, who's not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We got time for one more thing. What's the next step in your administration? What's the next big thing you guys want to get done?
Well, one of the biggest things I want to get done is I want to I've asked for a second undersheriff.
Oh, great.
We feel there's a need in order to serve a population this big of 700,000 in the county.
Because you guys serve many more than just APD.
Yes. I want to break this into 2 different sections, an administrative and an operations section. And we're decentralized. We operate throughout the county. We're a big organization. We're the highest risk, highest liability department in the whole county, and we need that support in order to do a good job for the citizens.
Excellent. Well, hey, thanks guys for coming in. You stick around for a little bit, talk politics with these guys.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with more on the Morning Brew and Friends.